This a real story of love. Before starting the story, please subscribe my YouTube channel and press the bell icon for more interesting stories. Jack stared at his phone, his fingers hovering over the screen, rereading Emily's last message for what felt like the 100th time. Heading out with friends, won't have much service. Talk tomorrow? It was innocent enough, but something about it unsettled him. Since the beginning of her summer trip, her messages had been changing, subtly at first, until now they felt like whispers of the woman he thought he knew. She'd always been the adventurous one, the one with an endless thirst for life, and he loved that about her. But now, with her absence stretching longer each day, her replies shrinking to mere fragments, he couldn't ignore the gnawing sense of doubt crawling through his mind. Alone in their dimly lit apartment, he scrolled through old photos of them together, looking for reassurance that felt farther and farther away with each passing day. Was this just paranoia, or was there a truth behind her silence he wasn't ready to face? The thought lingered, cold and haunting, like a shadow he couldn't shake. Jack was deeply in love with his fiancée, Emily. She was independent, adventurous, and filled with an undeniable zest for life, qualities that had drawn him to her from the start. When she mentioned taking a solo summer trip with her old college friends, he couldn't help feeling a pang of anxiety, but he kept it to himself. He wanted to support her need for independence, and he reasoned that a little time apart might be a good thing. Besides, they were both busy with work, and this trip was something she had been looking forward to for months. At first, everything seemed fine. Emily messaged Jack frequently, sharing updates, photos, and stories about her adventures. But as the trip went on, her messages became shorter and less frequent, and she stopped calling him at night like she used to. Jack tried to rationalize, convincing himself that she was just busy having fun with her friends. But the uneasy feeling lingered, gnawing at him in the quiet hours of the night. The turning point came one evening when Jack received a group photo from one of Emily's friends. It was a casual shot, showing the group smiling and laughing, but in the background, Jack spotted Emily sitting unusually close to a man he didn't recognize. Her body language was relaxed, her gaze directed toward him with a warmth that sent a chill through Jack's spine. He tried not to jump to conclusions, but he couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. He spent hours staring at the photo, scrutinizing every detail and questioning if he was reading too much into it. When Emily returned from her trip, Jack could no longer contain his doubts. He asked her directly about the man in the picture, his voice tense with a mixture of frustration and fear. Emily seemed taken aback by the question, dismissing it lightly and insisting that the man was just an old friend. She assured Jack there was nothing to worry about, but her defensiveness only fueled his suspicions. Jack felt trapped between his desire to trust her and the nagging feeling that there was more to the story. Unable to shake his doubts, Jack took a drastic step. He began reaching out to some of Emily's friends who had been on the trip. Most were hesitant to get involved, but one finally opened up, sharing that Emily had indeed spent a lot of time with the man in the photo. Jack's heart sank, his worst fears now seeming like a reality he couldn't avoid. Determined to know the full truth, he confronted Emily one last time, this time more hurt and desperate than before. With tears in her eyes, Emily finally confessed. She explained that the man was an old friend she hadn't seen in years, someone with whom she had a deep connection. During the trip, they had spent some time reminiscing, and she admitted that she had allowed herself to get closer than she should have. She swore nothing physical had happened, but she acknowledged the emotional boundaries she had crossed. Emily was ashamed and remorseful, assuring Jack that she was fully committed to him and had never wanted to betray his trust. Jack was torn, grappling with a storm of emotions, betrayal, hurt, love, and a deep desire to move forward. In the end, they both agreed to seek counseling to help them work through the trust issues. They committed to being more open and honest, determined to rebuild the bond they had nearly lost. As they began their journey of healing, Jack reflected on the experience, recognizing that relationships are as much about forgiveness and resilience as they are about love. Though the road ahead was uncertain, they both held on to a sense of hope, ready to face the challenges together and build a future founded on trust and honesty.